mental health in everyday life. We've done this session earlier, but we've done a very basic session. Today we're going to do slightly more advanced, and it's going to be interactive, so you can ask questions as we go along. Good things are coming to you, just keep moving. That's yeah, it's a saying. So we'll keep moving along also.
We have to.
We have to keep moving. Yeah.
Otherwise, time
Yeah.
will take us.
Yeah, will hamper. Yeah, please. So, what is mental well-being? What do we understand by mental well-being?
How is your mental health?
Yeah.
Are you positive or negative, or how do you react to different situations in a day?
Okay. So, all the stimulus that we are interacting with on an everyday basis, how we react to that and how we cope with that, right?
Mostly whether you are happy with your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you're happy with your life, that's the basic understanding of mental well-being. So mental well-being basically describes your mental state, how you are feeling, how well you can cope with your day-to-day life. It can change from moment to moment, from day to day, month to month, to year to year. It's not constant. It's never going to be constant, because we are all emotional beings. Yeah, and because we are all emotional beings, and those emotions keep fluctuating. If you have good mental well-being or good mental health, you're able to feel relatively confident about yourself. You value and accept yourself, and judge yourself realistically, and you have reasonable standards of judgment. You're not very extreme when you're judging yourself. You're not expecting yourself to be the best in the world, neither are you expecting yourself to be the worst in the world. You feel and express a range of emotions, feel engaged with the world around you, and you can build and maintain positive relationships with other people, and feel you can contribute to the community you live and work productively, and you cope with the stressors of everyday life and manage times of change and uncertainty. So basically, whatever happens in your life, you're able to cope with it. That's what mental well-being means. It's important to know that mental illness is increasing, population is increasing, the infrastructure is not as good as it should be for the kind of population that we're that we're working with, and because of which life stressors increase and mental illnesses also increase. But mental illness is not only because of lifestyle, it also has other components involved. So we'll talk about that as we go along. Detox your life in 4 easy steps. Eliminate anyone who lies to you, disrespects you, uses you, puts you down. Actually, it's not, you don't have to eliminate anyone from these people from your life, but keep them at the periphery of your life. Don't bring them very close to you. Yeah, because they're always going to be this way. They're always going to pull you down.
You can't control others.
You can't control others, and you can't change others. You can only change yourself. So what can affect mental well-being? When we feel sad and stressed out, we have low mental well-being. We find it difficult to cope. Yeah, for example, when we suffer some sort of loss, experience loneliness in relationships, relationship problems, worried about work or money, sometimes there's no clear reason why we experience low self-esteem, or a period of poor mental health. However, there are some factors that may make you susceptible to experiencing a period of mental health. Those factors could be childhood abuse, trauma, violence, neglect, social isolation, loneliness, discrimination, homelessness, poor housing, long-term physical health condition. When we say poor housing, means it's not adequate enough for your kind of need, your personal need. Okay, we'll talk about the spatial difference afterwards. Social disadvantage, poverty or debt, unemployment, coping for a family member, caring for a family member or a friend, significant trauma as an adult, which also could involve being in the military. I mean, if you're talking about armed forces, or being a victim of violent crime, which is increasing nowadays. I mean, a lot more people are becoming victims of violent crimes. Stay positive. The things you're waiting and hoping for tend to arrive at the most unexpected moments. There are 8 guideposts to navigating mental illness. First is analyzing the behavior. Second is remembering it's not your fault. Third is trusting in yourself. Fourth is don't go it alone. You're not alone. You don't need to go it alone. Seek help as soon as possible. Don't get into fights. Learn how to bend the mental health system to your needs, and settle in for the siege and never give up. It's a long haul. It's not going to be easy to get over it, and you might not ever get over it, but may be able to manage it so that you can live a longer life and a more healthier and beneficial life. Mention something like learn how to bend the mental health system to your needs. It's not very easy to bend the mental health system when you don't have a mental health system in place. In India, we really don't have a mental health system in place, so it's not a very easy. It's not easy for people who are mentally ill to live within the system over here, and also because the social structures do not allow for any kind of empathetic behavior towards mentally ill people.
Sometimes people are not aware also that they are mentally ill.
See, it's easier not to be aware because if you become aware, it becomes like a stigma. You got to live with the stigma. So if you deny, you're in denial, it's easier to live with yourself. So maybe a lot of people don't want to identify with the mental illness because it puts you in a place where you're going to be segregated from the rest of the world, and that's not a very happy place to be, right? Mental health problems and well-being. If you experience low mental well-being and over a long period of time, you're more likely to develop a mental health problem. So if you're sad, lonely, or distressed over a longer period of time, then the chances are that you might be mentally ill or you might have a mental health problem. So if you already have a mental health problem like depression or anxiety, you're more likely to experience periods of low mental well-being than someone who hasn't. You can still have periods of good well-being where you're able to manage your condition and your life without becoming unwell. So it's not necessary that just because you're experiencing longer periods of mental ill-being that you're mentally ill. It's not necessarily true. You will have lucid periods where you're going to be mentally well. Yeah. Don't be afraid to lose what wasn't meant to be. We are always worried about losing what we have, but actually sometimes what we have is not meant to be permanent. So it's you shouldn't be afraid of losing it. Be complicating our own lives by holding on to things that are not meant to be for us for a longer period of time, and that includes relationships also. The past cannot be changed. Opinions don't define your reality. Everyone's journey is different. Things always get better with time. Judgments are a confession of character. Overthinking will lead to sadness. This statement, judgments are a confession of character. When someone judges you, it actually means that person is actually telling you that he has that kind of a complexity within himself, or she's not able to have an open mind. So basically, that person's character comes out more than your own when that judgment is made. Yeah, absolutely. Overthinking will lead to sadness. Happiness is found within. Positive thoughts create positive things. Smiles are contagious. Kindness is free. You only fail if you quit. So failure doesn't happen to you. It's only when you decide that you don't want to go forward that you fail. Yeah. So how do you stay mentally well? What can I do to stay mentally well? Whether you have a mental problem or not, there may be times or situations in your life that are more difficult than others. The capacity to stay mentally well during these times is called resilience. The section suggests some ways you might be able to develop and strengthen your resilience. So what you can do is talk about the way you feel, which is not very easy in a society where people frown on men talking about their feelings. It's not a very easy thing. Women find it easier to talk about feelings, but men find it much more difficult. That's because they are ingrained. They're conditioned not to express their feelings. If you're facing a difficult time, talking about the way you feel with someone you know and trust can often help. Your friends or family may be able to offer you practical help or advice, and give you another perspective on what is causing your problem. If they can't help, often just talking something through and feeling that there is someone to listen and understand can make you feel much, much better. So just the process of talking to someone, it might not be that that person is going to be able to give you some advice or be able to, resolve your issues or solve your problem for you, but just the process of talking itself will bring you relief. It will help you ventilate, it will help you let out the steam, it will help you decrease the pressure that you're feeling or the tension that you're feeling. What do you get by this picture? Yeah, it's a picture of the brain, but what does it signify?
All put together. We are all.
Yeah, they're hands that are put together. So it's for your mental well-being. I mean, this whole social setup around you is responsible. Is part of it. So yeah.
It's a sense of belonging.
Yeah. So 10 Zenisms: let go of comparing, let go of competing, let go of judgments, let go of anger, let go of regrets, let go of worrying, let go of blame, let go of guilt, let go of fear, have a proper belly laugh at least once a day.
Let go of competing. You are saying let go competing, but everybody wants to come first. So how can that?
Yeah, that's why you're dissatisfied with life, right? So why do you think our discontent is increasing? Because we're not able to achieve those things that we want, right? And if we keep demanding things which we're not capable of getting, we're never going to be happy.
But everyone cannot come first.
No one can. Only one person can come first. Yeah.
Put our best, try,
Yeah.
and whatever result.
Absolutely. Do the best you can. That's all that can be.
People don't pursue for achieving success or going forward. How would
No one is saying you shouldn't achieve success or you don't go forward. You don't have to be first.
Yeah, you don't have to be first. but
Yeah,
then unless
that's all that's being
you
said.
try your best. And
No one is saying don't try your best. Just say don't want to be first every time. You can't be first all the time. There are other people who might be better than you.
don't get frustrated with failure because it is a feedback.
Absolutely. See, coming in a class of 60, only one person can come first. Like in a population of 1 million or 10 million, only one person can come first. So what the other people are going to be frustrated and kill themselves because they can't come first. I mean, that's not the way life is to be lived.
That doesn't mean that the others are all failures.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they're incapable. It's just that is not their proficiency or that is not their skill. It doesn't mean that they don't have any
It also
skills.
means that in one area I am the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everybody is unique. You
Everybody can't get mug and get marks. Yeah, I mean it's it's
and we put whole emotional.
the pressure is on that. Yeah, absolutely. So build healthy relationships. That's very important for your mental well-being. So if you have true friends, they have to stick by you through thick and thin. Never judge you. And when you're at your lowest, they have to stay with you and pull you through those darkest hours. Yeah, building and maintaining constructive relationships with people is an important part of staying well. If you spend time around positive and supportive people, you're more likely to have a better self-image. So if people around you are positive and encouraging towards your well-being, you will have a positive self-image of you. If people are constantly telling you that you're bad and you're doing things in the wrong way or whatever you're doing is not good enough, you'll start believing that you're not good enough. So you need to be aware of your own capabilities and not judge yourself based on what other people are talking about you. If you do not have social contact you feel you need or experience feelings of loneliness for whatever reason, this can also have a negative impact on your life. So if the social contacts that you make are not the ones that you need, then that can also have a negative impact on you, because you might be having a lot of friends and you have a lot of criminal acts are propagated by people who are friends with antisocial elements. So that kind of social contact might not be beneficial for you. It might lead you into the wrong path, or it might lead you to areas which you might not be actually going to on your own. So you need to be aware of where you need to draw the lines and with whom you should be friends with, and yeah, you should be a little bit more choosier about who you make friends with, who you socially be in contact with. When you finally let go of the past, something better comes along. Yeah, I was talking about the space, social space, personal space, and intimate space that a human being needs. This is in a macro context. So this is just a diagrammatic representation of space that a human being needs within and without.
So where everyone's intimate with the ones they go on the train.
No, but those are things you can't help. I mean, but the train is also a stressor, right? Traveling in a crowded train is a stressor for you, so that you're not having your space, right? So that's. But some things you can't help in India. I mean, in a country like India where the population is, yeah. But this is for.
Always a hot temper.
Yeah.
Not in the season is very
No, but even if you're not naturally hot tempered, you tend to get angry because someone is pushing you or someone is doing something, or it's just bound to happen because you're so stressed out when you're traveling on the train.
This is a generally representation
Yeah.
of a body language. If you are afraid, you will sit by stranger. It's at a distance, like that.
Absolutely. So it's nice to see. This doesn't have to be in a crowded situation. It can be in your house, right? You have your own private room, right? That's your private space. That's your intimate space. Whereas when you go out into the drawing room and the rest of your family is there, so that's your social space. So you need to take good care of your physical health if you want to be mentally well. So if your physical health is very good, then your mental health will also be good. Sleep patterns, diet, and physical activity all have an impact on mental well-being. If you have trouble sleeping, this can have a serious impact on your mental well-being. If you don't sleep for a few days, for whatever reason, you're studying or you're working hard and trying to finish up some jobs, or maybe just getting over and catching up on all the movies that you missed out, or whatever, for whatever reason, you can feel the strain that you're experiencing when you haven't slept for 2 or 3 days together. Everyone feels it. You might ignore it, but it's there. And if you continue to do that, it's going to affect your mental well-being. Negative feelings are likely to be exaggerated, and you might find you are more irritable and less confident. That's what you all experience when you don't sleep well enough, or for the required hours that you need. This is a space for self. Don't be afraid to start over. It's a chance to build something better. Diet and food habits. It's very important to realize that diet and food habits have a direct link to the way you behave, basically your moods. So eating healthily has a positive impact on your physical and mental health. Eating a well-balanced diet or regular meal times with plenty of water and vegetables will help you to feel more healthy and happy. Stopping or reducing alcohol intake, avoiding tobacco and recreational drugs, and will also help improve your general well-being. So it's important to have a very good diet, have regular exercise, have good sleep, and avoid all kinds of drugs and alcohol and tobacco. Always go too far, because that's where you'll find the truth. My sister dragged me to the gym and made me join when I was at a very low point, but it was the best thing she did for me. So that's, you might go through very low phases in your life, you might have very difficult times, but if you maintain your physical well-being, if you regularly exercise and take good care of your physical health, chances are that you won't experience such lows too often. I mean, you will still experience lows, because that's part of being a human being, but it won't be for long periods of time, or it won't be that long that you can't cope with it. Physical activity is good for mental health, particularly if you exercise outdoors. Being active can help reduce depression and anxiety and boost your self-confidence. It also releases endorphins, that is feel-good hormones, that can help you improve your mood. It doesn't matter whether you're gardening, doing a gentle walk, or something more active, you'll always feel better for having done some physical activity. This is for people who don't have mental illnesses, but if you have a mental illness, then possibly more vigorous exercise is required to get you to have those good endorphins, feel good endorphins. I've realized that you cannot make someone love you. All you can do is be someone who can be loved. The rest is up to them. I've learned that no matter how much I care, some people just don't care back. This is a constant struggle that we have with ourselves. We think that by loving someone, we're going to be loved back in the same, and that's true of so many relationships today. I mean, people fall in love with people who might not love them back to that same extent, and then they suffer trauma because that's not happening in their lives. So if you realize that just because you love someone, it's not necessary that they have to love you back, or they have to love you back in equal measure. You will be sure to take care of yourself. But if you don't realize that and you allow that to happen to you again and again, then you're going to be in a place where
you should understand that the opposite person whom you are interacting will have different thinking.
absolutely,
And if you understand that, you are at peace.
yeah. Do something you enjoy. Doing something that you enjoy can improve your confidence and help you stay well. Make time to do things you like, whether it's cooking, seeing your friends, or anything else. Some people find that doing something creative such as drama, drawing, or sewing helps them to express themselves positively and deal with any difficult emotions in a positive way. So it's always good to develop hobbies on the side other than what you're doing in your work professional life, so that it takes the stress away from your day-to-day routine. And hobbies can be anything. It can be any recreational stuff, or it can be any kind of interest that you have. Composing and playing music helps me express feelings that are difficult to explain in words. Learning something new or taking up a new hobby can also boost your confidence and occupies your mind in a positive and active way. If you want to try a new hobby, think about what you're good at things that have always wanted to try. You can find information about volunteering organizations, local groups, clubs, or classes at your local library, in local newspapers or magazines, or online. So you can do anything which interests you. It doesn't have to be, you can come to Help Library and read the books, or you can come to Help Library, attend the sessions, or you can volunteer at an NGO or whatever. I mean, what makes you feel good, that's the key.
Joining in a group.
Yeah. No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. You could also do something for someone else. Doing something for someone else, such as helping a friend or a relative with their chores or volunteering for a charity, has always been shown to have a positive impact on mental well-being. It can help you improve your self-confidence and meet new people, and makes you feel that you're making a positive contribution to your community. The underlying understanding of this is that man needs to be needed, right? I mean, we all need to be needed. I mean, we are not a separate entity. We are in connection with society, and because we are a social animal, we need that interaction with each other. We need to be needed by the other person. That will give us our self-worth, and that is what we need to develop. And it's all up to us. I mean, if we don't develop that, we are going to find ourselves lonely and alone. Strong people are those who can build a firm foundation with bricks that others have thrown on them. So just because people are throwing bricks at you, or people are saying things about you that are not good or hurtful, doesn't mean that you've got to give up. You need to face up to that and tell them that I don't care. I mean, I can still live my life, and I'm above all this. I'm not going to let this pull me down. Accept mental health as part of our life experience. Set yourself a challenge. Set yourself a challenge that you can realistically achieve. That's another way of securing your mental well-being. This doesn't have to be anything particularly large, but should have some meaning for you. For example, you might decide you're going to write a letter to your local paper or start going to a regular exercise class. Okay, there's this new trend. I mean, it's not a new trend. It's been happening for quite some time. But a lot of these CEOs are writing letters to their daughters. Right? And that's one way of for them to feel good about themselves. It's not necessarily, I mean, they're also doing it for that publicity is making them feel good. So that's another way of doing things. You will feel, I think Indira Yogi wrote, and then some ICCI bank chairman wrote a letter or so. Everyone's writing a letter nowadays. So that's also one way of doing. Yeah. You will feel satisfied and proud of yourself when you achieve your goal and feel more positive about yourself as a result. I find that crafting not only helps me relax, but it also improves my confidence when I finish a project and I'm happy with the results. Especially if it's a gift for someone or something that improves the appearance of my home. So any kind of activity which makes you feel good, that's the bottom line. It has to make you feel good about yourself.
So this challenge ka thing, suppose you have done something 4 to 5 times and you have not got success, how can you come out of that? Or
see, that is something different. Setting a challenge for yourself is doing something which you've not done before.
okay.
Right? I mean, if it's something that, see, like, why would someone write a letter to their daughter? I mean, she's your daughter. I mean, you can just tell her what you want to tell her. Right? But there are things you can't directly speak about when you're talking to someone in a one-on-one communication. So maybe there are lots of hidden agendas that are coming out through the letter. Maybe guilt about certain things that you've not been able to do for her. Yeah, it's mostly guilt. So that's one way of communicating with, but obviously you can't do that on an everyday basis. I mean, your daughter will think, what the hell, you're my mother, why are you telling me, why are you writing letters to me, why can't you just say what you want to say? Yeah, so it's kind of stupid, but it helps the process.
Fear behind because they cannot face.
Yeah, actually.
So better way to write a letter.
Yeah. Well, I can understand if the person is somewhere far away and you are not able to communicate directly and phone becomes too impersonal.
Like as you rightly said, in many companies, CEO and all the same, they give that because it is a negative message or something.
No, actually, it's a way of it's basically to get employees to start communicating on a regular basis. It has nothing to do with your personal reasons, but it's more to get encourage employees to start communicating in a much more open way. Yeah. Our healthcare certainly needs reform, and it's not happening at all. So that's something we need to take care of. Don't bring up our past when you are here to improve your future.
Many people don't forget their past.
Yeah, that's basically what hinders us in our present life.
No, we are Indians living on history. No, see,
Yeah.
what
But-
our ancestors didn't know,
Yeah.
that we are always going through.
Yeah. No, forget our ancestors. We also, even our own personal past. I mean, we don't ever want to forget it because we like to have that comfort of, even if it's negative, we still want to have that comfort around us. Relax. It's important to make time to relax, even if you don't feel under stress. This may mean going away for a weekend, spending an evening doing something you like, or even just change the environment. Get yourself out of the routine, the drudgery of routine. I mean, routine becomes drudgery after a certain point of time. It might be very good for discipline and all that, but after a point of time, it gets you need a change. You need to break that routine. So learning a relaxation technique or breathing exercises, yoga, meditation can help you relax and reduce stress levels. Yoga classes, yoga is very good actually. It's helpful because it also teaches you how to meditate. Complementary therapies such as massage, acupuncture, reflexology can also help you maintain your mental well-being. One thing you need to keep in mind is relaxation is not the same as recreation. Hobbies and other activities can be stressful if they become excessive. So whatever you do, do it moderately. Don't do it to an excessive
The balance.
level. Yeah, it has to be balanced. Absolutely. So health has three basic constructs: biological, psychological, and social. So, and together they impact your mental well-being. You can't control everything. Sometimes you just need to relax and have faith that things will work out. Let go a little and just let life happen. For those who have mood swings, it's good to have an idea of why you're feeling moody at that point of time, specifically that particular mood that you're experiencing. So it's good to have a mood diary which can tell you, and you can write down, what is the trigger that triggered that particular mood. So if you're feeling low at a particular time and you look back and try and understand why what triggered that episode of low feeling, so then it can give you an idea of what you need to do when you have that, the next time around when it happens. So eating certain foods might be affecting, or seeing a certain person, or can also affect your mood. Sometimes a lot of people believe that if a black cat crosses their path, yeah. So as a result, what happens is you start believing that something bad is going to happen to you. So your mood goes down anyway. So if you know that, you can correct it.
Blinking eyes also.
Yeah. I don't know about that. What is the blinking eye thing?
Means bad call, left side and the right side.
Huh.
Left
See,
side
in
is wrong.
Marathi it is a papni lovely, means it's a kind of if some bad news is coming or something.
Left side means-
Okay, if your left eye blinks on its own.
Left, exactly.
Left means what? Wrong. Wrong things will of course.
Yeah, that I don't know.
And
But-
right means what? Positive.
So
means.
only one eye should blink, but I mean, both eyes blink at the same time. What do you do?
No, it's one.
This might have happened maybe
Yeah.
previous time once or twice. So that is linked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crocheting on
Yeah, crocheting is supposed to be unlucky, I guess. Yeah, or lucky. I don't know.
I don't know how.
Some people think it's unlucky. Some people think it's lucky. So, see, but whatever happens, I mean, if you start believing that that's negative, that affects your mood, and that if your mood goes down, then your whole day can get spoiled, or it can extend to 2 days or 10 days, or depending on how susceptible you are. So you can create your own mood diary, or there are lots to choose from the internet, and you can point out the triggers so that you can avoid them before that they can happen the next time around. So it's a preventive, basically. An important explanatory system for mental illness is psychological in nature. The general model here is that the individual develops along a path and attempts to adapt to their environment. However, if the individual fails to learn certain crucial elements, or learns the wrong responses to new situations, or adopts short-term solutions that have long-term maladaptive consequences, then suffering and dysfunction result. So basically what the understanding is that if the individual develops along a path and attempts to adapt, see, we all adapt to our environment, right? But if we use shortcut methods to adapt, then it can be maladaptive for us. It can create dysfunctions in our lives. So we need to go use the whole process rather than cut it short and try to make it faster. You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. So what will help the best is to be honest with yourself and understand that you're coping and getting support when you need it. Everyone has times when they face challenging situations and find it difficult to cope. If you're experiencing a difficult time or are unwell, it's important to look after yourself and try and get through. Be careful not to put too much pressure on yourself. You may need to take a break from your usual responsibilities. For example, relaxing your social activities, take small steps and don't expect too much of yourself. Try to get enough sleep and eat regularly. If you're finding it difficult to cope on your own, don't be afraid to ask for help. Stay safe. If your feelings are becoming overwhelming and you have suicidal thoughts or you think you may have self-harm, remember that you can pick up the phone at any time, night or day, and talk to the helpline. All people need is someone who listens, and a heart who understands them. Learn to accept yourself. The more you are at peace with yourself, the more you are likely to be at peace with others. One of the most important steps of staying mentally healthy is to learn to accept yourself. Try not to compare yourself to others. The first poster that we spoke about. Don't strive for perfection. Acknowledge your positive qualities and things that you're good at. Learn to identify and challenge unhelpful thinking patterns. So if you're getting negative thoughts, what you need to do is you need to challenge those negative thoughts. You don't allow the negative thoughts to settle in your mind. Keep telling yourself that that's not true. That's what I'm thinking is not what the reality is. Use self-help books and websites to help you change your beliefs. Spend time with supportive people. Be assertive. Don't allow people to treat you with a lack of respect. Engage in work and hobbies that you enjoy. This is a graphic of depression that the WHO has put out. 350 million people globally suffered from depression. So out of from 350 million people, 41% suffer depression, 15% suffer anxiety, 11% have drug use disorders, 10% have alcohol use disorders, and 7% are suffering from schizophrenia. Twice as many women typically develop depression than men, although in richer countries, 3 times as many men die by suicide than women. Remember, there's a big difference between somebody who wants you and somebody who would do anything to keep you. So accept yourself. That's the key to your mental well-being. So what's the difference between mental distress and mental disorders? Distress is usually common. It's a response to environmental challenges, maybe adaptive, usually short-term and not severe. It's not necessary to diagnose it as something like it's not meant to be an illness. Usually does not require professional intervention. Usually responds well to usual supports and positive lifestyle activities. Whereas disorders are less common. The onset can happen even without environmental challenges. It can be long term. There could be significant functional impairment. There is a diagnostic criteria for labeling these illnesses. Frequently requires professional intervention. Usually responds well to evidence-based treatment, and usually helped by appropriate supports and positive lifestyle activities. So basically, positive lifestyle activities and support can help whether you're distressed or whether you have a disorder. Either way, if that is available to you, there are chances that it's better for you to be able to cope. So whatever affects your health, it could be genes, individual choices, and environment, right? And that's you in between, right? That's a dietary perspective of the brain. No, those are vegetables and fruits. Yeah. Mango, there's oranges, capsicum, eggs, then there's brinjal, there's chilies, cucumber.
So we have all this khichdi.
Tomatoes, apples. Mental illness is not a choice. Stigmatizing the mentally ill is. So what it boils down to is exercise, diet, nutrition, time in nature, contribution and service, relationships, recreation, relaxation and stress management, religious and spiritual are all part of your mental well-being. It helps you be mentally well. Yeah. And you also need someone to listen to you. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic for that affects your well-being. Safety is the basic need that you have. Security, family, confidence, and then everything else, self-actualization. This gives you a better perspective on the health paradigm. So if you're looking only at mental illness, lack of education, poor employment history, lack of pro-social leisure activities, family and marital factors, substance abuse, antisocial friends and peers, antisocial personality patterns, and antisocial attitudes are all affecting, right? But the red ones are affecting more than the blue.
I thought employment was one of the major factors for depression in our country.
Yeah, but employment is not the basic reason. It's the reason could be lack of education or not willing to seek employment. A lot of people are.
Certain age also.
Yeah.
You are teenagers, you don't about means what requirement of
Employment is not an issue, right? Yeah.
Sudden loss of a job and all
Yeah,
this also.
yeah,
You
it
don't
is.
know, then you're suffering the problem. Unemployment. Certain age is important.
See, that's age related also, right? I mean, and that's. But basically, what the basic crux of understanding mental illness is to understand the patterns that affect life patterns that affect you, and these are more affecting. I mean, the rest there'll be lots of hidden issues that are affecting you, but these are the most pronounced reasons or factors. So when you get defensive about certain things, you hold firm to negatives, you don't let go, use what you did in the past, get sick about it and regress. And when you're offensive, you trick or attack the positive, deny, dissociate and delude, fantasize, rationalize, see it as a negative. But the balance is to pull back and reapprise, talk back to the negative, pull hard on the positive, praise yourself for the good choice that you make. Right? So that's what you need to have, the balance. So this is the well-being construct. The environment, work and learning, housing, family, social participation, leisure, health and security are factors. Nobody but you is responsible for your life. It doesn't matter what your mama did. It doesn't matter what your daddy didn't do. You're responsible for your life. You're responsible for the energy that you create for yourself, and you're responsible for the energy that you bring to others. That's what Oprah Winfrey said. Learning to communicate with family members helps in times of stress. Encourage talking and listening. Accept each other's feelings, concerns, and ideas. Develop problem-solving skills. Let each family member know he or she is appreciated and loved. Being able to accept the support of friends and neighbors can also help strengthen your family. This is another food chart that you can. So avoid junk food, caffeine, and any other eh, you avoid carbonated drinks also. That's something that's really bad for your health. So this is the eat well plate. The fruit and vegetables should be the maximum that you have. That's on the green one. That's that edge. Bread, rice, potatoes, and pasta is the yellow. Meat, fish, eggs, and beans is the pink. Foods and drinks high on fat and sugar. Yeah, should be a really small portion of your meal, and milk and dairy foods. That's the blue portion, right? So that's kind of a balanced meal that you can have for your mental well-being. That's it. Any questions?